Okay, let's see if everything's running. It should be. Can I hear my voice somewhere? Yeah, perfect. Okay. Okay, so now that we are here, welcome to the channel. Welcome to FrankScape, by the way. Welcome, welcome. We are going to do a very improvised, slightly review or first impressions of Nightingale. It's currently out on early access, I believe. Is this game still on early access?
Yeah,
All right,
just released on early access last week.
just released on early access. Okay. So yeah, the game's on early access, and we are going to be talking about Nightingale, what we think about the good, the bad, the ugly, and yeah, and that's kind of what the move is going to be. So with us, we got yours truly, and Nick is here, good friend of mine. So let's
Hey,
let's
Frank.
see. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and record this as well. There we go. Everything should be running, hopefully. If no errors, so we gotta be good. All right. So Nightingale. Let's see the list. Is it on Discord? Yeah, there we go. All right. So let's start with gameplay mechanics. All right. So crafting system. What do you think of the crafting system? Let's start with the basics in the sense of like compared to other games. Where do you think this crafting stands, Nick? I cannot hear you. Are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with my microphone here.
Oh, that's fine.
So I was saying, it's hard to tell because
We're still, I guess, 1/3 of the game into the game, right? So we haven't progressed that far. I mean, like I guess we've been like 50%, right? Uh, it seems like at the rate from what you can, see over the top, it seems like it's a fairly elaborate crafting system. I just don't know if it can deliver at the end because we haven't really played that far. Uh, I have to say that when you compare it to other survival craft games, which I think it's what we're actually doing here, like Atlas
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like uh, Ark might be more elaborate because it's been out for a while. But at least from what I remember from Atlas, this is definitely a little bit more in depth than uh, than Atlas is.
That's
Um, the
hmm. All right, go. Yeah, yeah. Keep going. Sorry.
so we could break it down into like what we like, what we don't like. I think there definitely have a lot of improvement to make on the user interface
Mm-hmm. Oh
and
yeah.
on the crafting stations. And I think you said this a couple of days ago. Um, you said crafting galore bonanza or something like that. Crafting station galore.
Yeah,
Uh,
crafting station galore.
because you end up basically just filling your whole headquarters base house, whatever you want to call it, with a lot of crafting stations. And I don't know, it feels like it's like this. And I don't know why I'm bringing this up actually, but you have this kitchen and you have like this sink, and then you have your prep area, and then you got the oven, and you got these three steps in a normal kitchen that you actually have to go through. But in here you've got like these 17 steps in between, and you have to move in between all of them, and there is no clear concise way to actually I guess you want to craft a recipe, you have to move around to a lot of other crafting stations to actually make it happen.
Yes, I
and and it,
100%
and it
agree.
feels it feels at times that it's very very convoluted. I don't like being sort of like handhold handheld via most of the processes in games, but at the same time, this game just doesn't do anything at all to actually alleviate that convolution.
Yes, let's take a look at that point that you said about the how convoluted the UI is, because I do believe the UI in this game when it comes to the crafting and pretty much anything, it's really it's really it's really bad. So look,
Yeah,
let's go ahead
it's
and load that
horrible.
here a second. So you press C, I believe, yeah. So here's the crafting system, or sorry, the UI. On the left, we got what we can craft and all the things, and on the right, the requirements. Now, I'll give you a quick example. On the augmentations, I got 26 augmentations, so I can choose over 26 different crafting tables of some sort to like give a bonus to whichever crafting station they are, you know, they're related to, which is cool. It's like, okay, if I build this and attach it to my crafting station, I get to build more things. But then you run into the problem of, okay, you can do that before you even have the recipe. So it's like you are having to build these extra stations that you don't really know when you're going to need them. You just know that you're going to need them at some point. And because you have to build them and they have to be within a certain proximity of the crafting station that you want to use, you have to like do this whole mess of crafting stations, lesser crafting stations, and just put them all together in this spaghetti of crafting stuff. Like pretty much what I have going on here on my base, where I had to like kind of put everything on a square, but try to have everything as organized as possible, and still it feels like like we didn't play this for a couple days, and when I got in here and entered this room, it took me a little bit to remember, okay, what the fuck is everything? Like I don't remember what this is, why did I put this, etc., etc. It doesn't really explain well either. Whenever you build those other crafting stations, you think like, okay, I'm gonna unlock this thing, but then it's like, where is it? And it doesn't necessarily tell you either where you can grab it from, unless you go to like, I guess it's that trader tab that you told me about. I haven't really looked at it much, but I see that all the traders are there, so it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's just like, okay, you holding my hand a little bit too much there. But anyways,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
so it's something that I think they might have just overlooked, and it's hidden behind. It's something that I guess they hid behind the whole early access excuse, I guess, right? Because when you hit like just hit C, and on the sub menu, just go all the way to the traders tab. You can literally just scroll through traders of places that you don't even have. Uh, and right now I'm going all the way down. I can see the watch. I can see ascended. I've seen things that we haven't,
Yeah, the
even
wash
done.
clothing essence trader, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah, and you get to see like Gloom, Hunt.
Oh yeah, damn,
So,
yeah,
so,
Drake
so
bundle.
all of those are realm cards that we haven't unlocked. And if you go far into it, actually, if you go even deeper and you just click on any one of them and double click, then you can actually just go into a menu and see what they're gonna be selling you. And you are like, all right, so spoiler much.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it
I
does kind of spoil you a little bit. I will definitely have to agree there.
I think there's this approach to gaming. Some people like to min max and just go online and find how to do everything. Other people like to discover the game for themselves and just have that, I guess, like sense of wonder and how much farther into the game do I need to keep on exploring. And just looking at that, it sort of like just gives you that well, this is the percentage that you have actually explored, I guess.
Yeah, I like that it kind of tells you, it lets you know that there's more for you to unlock and a lot more to do, at least that much, like, definitely there's plenty of content in this game, but it's a lot of very repetitive kind of content too, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, so I guess that's another thing that we can dive into, because we were talking about crafting.
Yeah, but let's do the crafting for now, and then we can touch that whenever, we enter that.
All right, so crafting. We talked about the crafting stations. We talked about the user interface, the materials. All right, so once again, they're hiding behind early access here. I told you this earlier.
Yeah.
There are some materials that they have, like a generic icon because they, I don't
See
know.
if I have any
I
of them.
guess
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
graphic,
have one. I have paint, for example, chamomile paint,
yeah,
and
and the
it's
graphic
just
designer seems to have quit on them
yeah, yeah. It's
and
just
left their icon sets unfinished. It
yeah,
seems
he
like a
gave up.
very basic thing. Yeah, it feels like a very basic thing, something that it just doesn't take that much out of them to actually just replace that placeholder there, and it's a thing. Uh, so yeah, so that's part of the crafting system, the materials, etc. I find it curious, and once again, like with all this hiding behind the early access veil and all of that, I wonder if all the underlying statistics and material qualities really
Uh-huh.
do make any sort of difference in the crafting process as of right now. I don't know if they have implemented all that depth into the crafting system just yet. Uh, in theory, it sounds like it could be pretty good. I mean, like they really, at the very least, they have the idea and the plan laid out, right? But
Mm.
I don't know if it's something that's in the game as of right now.
Mm. Yep, I agree. Um, I really, uh, I don't know. I really don't like early access to a certain degree because there's so many things off with early access games sometimes, or most times actually. And I feel that the UI on that crafting station is pretty much that. It's pretty much like what can we come up quick that can solve this spaghetti of crafting we got going.
Yeah, that drop down menu, endlessly scrolling down, it's way too tedious. That's
No, yeah,
definitely.
and then there's a problem that whenever you select something and then try to craft it, uh, and it kind of like resets. Like for example, if I want to craft a wall and then I put the wall down, but then I want to craft another type of wall, it immediately resets where the positioning of your UI was. So you have to
Yeah,
scroll
yeah.
all the
I
way
mean,
down again to select the item to just craft it again.
it works against you. The whole system
Yeah,
works against you, and and,
and
and
then
it's really not good at all.
you have this choice where you can select the schematic of the wall you already created and copy it. So you would think that if you can copy it, then you grab it and you build another one and build another one, and so on and so forth. But it only lets you make one single copy, and then you have to right click it again and then copy again. So it's not very, I don't know, something off with it. Not my favorite there. Now, I would say that on the plus side, I do like that there's plenty of things to craft. Um, I don't feel I have the freedom that I felt with other crafting games. And of course, nothing will ever feel like Star Wars Galaxy. That was like King Crafter right there. But I see what they're doing here. It's kind of gives you a little bit of Valheim combined with whatever they got going on. So yeah, I'm gonna say that the crafting wise, it's okay. It's entertaining. It's decent, but there's some minor flaws with it with the UI and so on and so forth. So I don't know if I were to rate it. I guess from 1 to 10, just to give it a number, I'm gonna give it a solid 6. Not the best, not the worst. It's complex enough for you to keep you entertained, but not but too simplified at the same time. And also
Yeah,
you
yeah,
mentioned earlier you mentioned that you could not craft certain amount of building blocks on an area, so it
oh
limits
yeah,
you.
but I think a that's more like building instead of crafting. But yeah, I think we can talk about it right
Yeah,
there
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
On the well, I
Uh,
mean, it kind of falls under the crafting because you do have to craft
yeah,
walls and build them, so it does fall under
yeah.
the same thing.
So one thing that I found out I guess the the hard way was when I started like mining all the stone that I could possibly find, and I wanted to build this huge bridge with a lot of like houses on top of it, and I just basically started building a huge bridge esque wall.
Mhm.
Uh, and at some point, it just basically told me that I could not add any more blocks to it. Like I reached the limit of subsequent blocks that I could have to my structure, and it seems to be on like a single structure situation because it's not tied to the realm. Because I moved to our separate house, and basically I started trying to place blocks in there, and it was allowing me to. So there could be workarounds to this. I don't know if like if you drop a separate state and build from that state, would it be allow you to connect it eventually? I don't know.
Yeah, like
Eh,
separating to like kind of uniting two zones, kind of thing.
yeah, and it could be that that's the workaround. It could also be that if you have a second person, that second person could have a separate limit and could help you. Just make
Yeah,
that
but
happen.
in there shouldn't be any limit. This is a crafting game. You should have free
Yeah.
roam to craft absolutely everywhere.
Yep.
That's the
I
weird
I,
part.
I absolutely agree, and it was definitely a bummer when I ran into that.
So I do personally don't like that kind of limitation, especially on a game like this.
Yeah.
Um,
So from me, it gets a 5. That's
a five. All
mainly
right.
because
So
yeah,
you're giving
it
it a
gets it
five.
gets a 5 because yeah, and I think it's fair considering that it's quote unquote early access. Um,
Uh,
and to be fair and to be honest, I thought Nightingale was gonna take a lot longer to come to our hands. I think it was announced like a year and 6 months or something like that ago.
uh
Um, and I was surprised when they said, it's coming out in early access. So I guess something happened there. I don't know what. It's enjoyable. I've been enjoying the game. We could keep on talking about the other stuff though if you
All
want.
right. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to another section of it. Okay. So just a summary. Crafting. Okay. It's decent. He gives it. Nick gives it a 5 out of 10. I give it a 6 out of 10. All right, so let's talk about the other part. Let's see. Let's briefly talk about the survival, exploration, and combat. Let's just kind of, since they kind of fall under the same thing more or less. Let's just talk about those three a second. So,
So
survival elements. Let's just quickly touch that. Surviving wise, how is it for you? Oh, can hear you. I don't know if you moved something or something. I don't know. Still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you
Hello. All right.
now.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that. It
That's fine.
apparently at every intermission it's gonna do that to us. So you're gonna have to mic.
No,
okay.
that's fine. Just I guess get ahead of it if you can, kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. So survival. I think they seem to have a one bullet for every single aspect of survival, and that is
What do you mean?
if you don't address your rest, your food, your hot, your wetness, your coldness, that's it. Uh, you have to constantly be juggling all of it. I think it's balanced enough. It's not on top of you all the time. I mean, like food lasts like 12 minutes. Each is different type of food, and in order to actually be the most effective as possible, you have to have at least three different types of food in you. So I guess that's varied enough. What I find a little bit tedious, I guess, is the rest portion. You have
Yes.
to, yeah, you have to be rested, and if not, then your stamina falls all the way down to one, and your health also starts dropping dramatically.
Yeah, and then you eventually die if you don't fix it, basically.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
fine. I
So
mean, because it's part of the survival part of it. But I do not like that. It feels to me that whenever I enter a new world and I just want to explore the world, I don't feel like okay, I'm not gonna craft here. I'm just gonna explore. I feel that the sleep counts like a timer. Like suddenly I am. It's like I don't know why, but the first time I experienced it, it reminded me of Majora's Mask. You
Oh yeah,
remember?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it feels just like that. Like you can do X amount of time, but the rest is going to eventually get to you. So you have to stop and break your immersion just so you can rest, or either craft a sleeping bag in front of you and just kind of like press E on it
And
just
just
so you
drop
can
it there.
reset that. Yeah.
And I guess yeah, and I guess that's another problem because it'd be wise for them to actually allow you to carry that bag with you. Don't have to craft it
Right? Like
all.
it should be an item, like an item that you can
Yeah,
just
and
grab with you,
and
you
since
know.
we're making it so that you need to actually have a roof over your head every time that you want to go sleep,
Yeah.
just go ahead and make it a tent. Just make it a full-on camping tent, and you craft it once and then carry it with you. And that's the way that it should work. Once again, the game is working against you. Same with the interface. The game is working against you, and it's not the kind of obstacles that you want to be facing in a game
Yeah.
like this.
I agree. So yeah, survival is okay. It's not really my favorite part of this game, ain't gonna lie. We could have actually done without it, because it really served no purpose at the time being other than just being little time sinks for you to worry about. This I feel that this game should not have been kind of like full on survival. In the sense of like that with the food meter and sleep meter and whatever not. Should have been a little bit more arcadey, a little bit more simplified, so you can focus more on exploration, the grind, the crafting, the building, and that kind of stuff, and not have this meter just stop whatever you're doing just so you can attend it for a second. So yeah, that's my opinion on survival. So it's all right. It's fun. It's okay. I'll give it an okay out of 10. That's the best. That's the best I can give it.
Yeah, it's once again, yeah, it's like a 5 out of 10 as well.
Yeah.
I don't mind it being survival mechanics in there. I actually like survival games. Um, but it does look at sometimes, and I get the feeling with other game mechanics as well, and we'll dive into that it was an afterthought. Eh,
Yes. Most definitely.
it feels like it's something that they haven't polished out, and they're working on it. That being said, I think the elements that they have put in place could make for a very good system once it basically
But yeah,
gets
once
polished
it's
up.
polished, yeah, most definitely. This game clearly needs some polish, but I mean, it's early access. It's fine.
Yeah.
Can't expect too much either. All right, let's see. Combat. I'm gonna say combat is okay as well. It's not boring. It's not the most complex thing either. Uh, yeah, animals, mobs have weaknesses like weak spots. You can do more damage, and that's about it. You just swing away. Meryl, just swing away. A lot of the times I just start spamming click, and I just kill everything on sight, kind of thing. So it's kind of it's kind of interesting. But now, we got to talk about the major problem with combat, which is kind of not really combat the problem. But let's talk about on the combat side related of our little slave here. So this game allows you to have workers. They're just NPCs that you find in the world, and you contract them, and they just become your little slave. The idea of the worker was supposed to help you craft. Well, not really craft, but supposed to help you like gather materials, and they have their own inventory and whatever. Just like a little helper, and
Well, let's call it
and
what it is. It's a slave.
yeah, exactly. He's a slave. Now, actuality, them gathering is completely useless because there's no way to command them to gather. The moment you stand still and they have the right tool on hands, then they start gathering that. But the moment you move, they stop. So if you want them to help you, it's like you have to literally do absolutely nothing. Just stay still. AFK for a minute, and when you come back, a whole deforestation just happened around you. So it's not really a helper. It's more like an AFK mechanic, if you ask me. I mean,
Yeah, it's like an idle gaming
yeah,
mechanic.
it's like idle gaming here. He will do everything for you the moment you're idle, which is okay, great, help me out, but okay, it's weird at the same time. Like they're not really directly like helping you as you would like to. But the worst offender is the fact that they can resurrect you every time you die. Well, let me tell you, that is
It's
so immersion breaking and game breaking in my opinion at this point. And I know it can have a simple fix like a cooldown on it, but at the time being, if you die, your slave will immediately abandon everything and revive you. And then you die again, and he will abandon everything and revive you again. And the
And the thing is
cycle will
that you
repeat.
get revived. You get revived with a significant portion of your health.
Yes.
So you can literally just weak sauce that into
Yes.
beating a boss and stuff like that.
Yeah, basically, like all you gotta do is just keep your little slave alive, and it kind of defeats the purpose of healing potions of everything, literally. It even defeats the point of armor, because it's like, what's the point of it all if when I die I get immediately resurrected, and then I just
So
die and immediately resurrected again?
I do have to say something about that though.
What?
That works like that when you are on a realm that is equal or slightly above your current gear level. But if you go to a realm that it's like I guess two tiers above,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter how many times he resurrects you, you're gonna die.
Ah,
You're
well,
just gonna
yeah. I
die.
mean, of course, you still need to get the armor and whatever to be able to take a moderate amount of damage without immediately, KO. So yeah, it is still needed to have upgrades and such, but to a certain degree, it kind of defeats them. At least on early game, it really defeats them. Uh, the purpose of the armor, simply because your little slave is just reviving you every 5 seconds. So yeah, combat is okay. I really enjoy the combat, but it's not that it's nothing new. It's just swing away Meryl, and sooner or later they will drop it. All right,
Yeah,
so yeah,
there's also the weapon variety. I think it's important to point out. I think they are trying to once again, same thing that I've said before. They're trying to polish this out, and the elements are in place. I mostly use a dagger for killing stuff, and I found that I can critical hit quite often with the dagger,
oh
and
really? You can critical look. I didn't even know that.
yeah, yeah. So you can. I mean, like I've hit for 1200, 600, 700 damage very
Damn,
easily.
I'm nowhere near that.
So
I'm like doing
so
300 at times.
it is some very good critical hits, and it can get you out of a tough spot. But then again, then you compare it to the mall, that you were using. I don't know if you're
Oh
still
no, the
using that
mole
one.
is OP. Like once you upgrade that
The,
thing and
the,
have it up to date,
yeah,
OP, dude.
the mall is basically you staggers everything and sort of like it's an I win button basically.
Yeah, it kind of
Eh,
is.
so I don't use it that much, but I enjoy just trying to get those criticals out of my dagger, and just moving around and stuff like that. But I know that if I switch to them all, I just have to just keep clicking and I'll win.
Yeah. Now explain this logic to me that I still do not get. It seems that certain weapons do certain damage to certain mobs. I found out that the maul, for example, can do a lot of damage to like your average monsters that show up on portals and that kind of stuff. I really don't know their name, but when it comes to animals, it literally does next to no damage. Explain that to me. I guess animals have a bigger, stronger skull than than the other monsters. I don't know. Like it.
So I wouldn't know where to start, how to explain that.
I've
I haven't experienced that because I don't use them all as much.
Okay, well, I
Uh,
do use it, and trust me, it's weird because I have to stop using it because of that reason. If I'm surrounded by pigs and try to use them all, it'll take me forever to kill them. And then I switch to the hatchet, and they just die in one shot.
Yeah, so I think there's at the very least there's the principles of those regular MMO mechanics of like
Yeah,
hurt you can hurt skeletons with blunt weapons and organic things with slicing weapons. So it might just be that the things that come out of the portals, the
hmm,
shades or whatever we want to call them, they are mostly demonic, I guess. So I guess the Mao would be you know uh, like it was a skeleton or something like that.
yeah,
And then you got the pigs, which
yeah.
are
Blunt
more like
damage.
organic based. Yeah, so
Yeah, I mean, I,
perhaps
I
more
guess it
damage
does make sense to a
there.
certain degree. All right, so it is taking us a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this a little bit so it doesn't take like a whole hour. All right, so let's go to graphics quick. What do you think of the graphics? Good, bad, awful? I think they're great.
Uh, so quickfire, I guess. They're very good. It's not like they're the best graphics out there. They remind me a lot of Valheim.
Yes, they
Um,
definitely do.
the color palette, everything reminds me a lot of Valheim. They did gave it their own twist with the whole setting, Victorian era, steampunkish.
Yeah, Mary Poppins time. Oh, oh, you Mike died again. Once you fix it, I'll let you know if I can hear you. So go ahead and try that.
Hey, can you hear me?
There we go. I can hear you again. Perfect. All right. So what? Sorry. What were you saying? Oh, hello. Oh, he died again.
No, I'm
Okay.
good. My headset died. My microphone should be working. Can you hear
Okay.
me
Yeah,
now?
yeah. I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So graphics, I think they're pretty good. Not the best out there, but they're not gonna disappoint.
All right. Yeah. I also agree with you. Graphics are pretty. The uh even with this 3D card, it lags if I put it on ultra a little bit, but I mean it's dumb. I like them. They're pretty neat. That's the best I can give you. I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10. You know, it's a good
Yeah,
little 3D
yeah,
game.
that's fair. I have a 3080 and it's all on ultra. It's flawless.
Okay.
I haven't checked the frames per second, but
Yeah, I do need a
it
new
I never see.
I do need a new CPU, and I know that's affecting my frame rates considerably. All right, so that's graphics. Let's see. Moving on to the next story and immersion. I'm the worst for that. I'm gonna pass the ball on that one for you because even though I've been reading the story and whatever, I always struggle to immerse in games. It's just part of me. Every so often I can, but most of the time I kind of struggle a little bit with the immersion. So, what's your take on
All
the
right,
story?
so mic check. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so at first I thought it was gonna be pretty, voiceover, very, linear. But then after a couple of dialogues with the main face spirit that guides you along,
Yeah.
everything falls on, just a lot of chat, text, picking up lore, reading through it. It reminds me a little bit of the way Metroid Prime in GameCube, and I
Mm-hmm.
know it's an odd comparison, did things with just laying the lore around and the story of the location and everything, and you actually had to pick up everything in order to understand it. They did seem to actually invest a lot on it though, because there's a lot of text that if you take your time to read it,
Yeah.
um, it's related to what's happening around you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I am limited to what I can say because obviously we,
No.
we are
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
we're not
Without
even halfway
spoiling.
there, but I know there's you pick up like these echo things and it tells you basically
Yeah. It tells you like a
a
little bit of lore.
story about something that happening around you.
Yeah.
It tells you about Elizabeth, about Oberon, about they really filled it with lore and they're really trying to actually just give it to you in the ways they can. But it's not your average storyline progression of any known MMOs out there that you just click through a quest line and you're gonna be fed spoon fed all these storylines. You actually have to look for it.
Yep. I agree.
So
As far
yeah,
as I'm sorry.
did I fall there? Can you still hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. I can still hear you.
Yeah. So I think it's good for what it is. I wouldn't play this game for the story though. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I, I've I like stories in games, but I've
It's not winning
found
you. It's
myself
not winning
actually
you over.
skipping through. I found myself skipping through the text more often than not lately,
Yeah.
just to actually be able to get through to the crafting and the building and the survival portion and exploration portion of the game.
Yeah. I couldn't. I the main thing story wise that got me interested is I want to see this Nightingale. I'm not gonna say anything other than that. I just want to see this Nightingale.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's
and
real, if it's just lore, but I just want to hope. I hope it's real.
so it's supposedly real because it's basically why you're here. You got thrown out of your city. Um, what I don't know if it's you're gonna be able to see it in the game. I know if you go to a trader's tab that spoils you the whole thing, you're gonna be able to find the watch. which is, I guess, the last realm that you can visit. Or I could be wrong there, but at the very least, it's this
Sounds
last
to me
realm
like
that
it
you can
is.
visit that it's spoiled for you.
Yeah, it's so spoiled to you because of the traders.
Yeah. So I would think, and this is my current hypothesis, I guess, about what that is.
Hmm.
It sounds like it's gonna be a hub realm in which you're gonna be able to find other players and just interact with them
Yeah.
and create your own little parties and then go and explore realms that people make. Um, but I don't know if that's gonna be the case.
Well, we're gonna find out. Okay, so story wise, I'm gonna lie, kind of sucks. I'm just curious about certain parts for it. Let's
Yeah,
see.
it's
Let's
like
see
a
what
three
else.
out of 10. Story wise, it's like a two out of 10, to be honest.
Yeah, here's one. I just literally found one. All right, so let's see what's next. Sound music. It's good. I mean, I'm not. It's not out of the ordinary. It's just decent. It's good. It's very. It goes with the game, but that's about it.
Yeah, sound effects are, just average. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what
really
you will
average.
find on Fibercraft. At this point, I think they just buy it in bundles and then just apply it to everything, like the steps, the slicing, the blunt, jumping around and everything.
Yeah.
Um, the music, it's cool, I guess at times, but honestly, I just just completely turn it off and put my own.
Oh, your mic died again.
Hey,
I can hear you now. Okay, you're back.
all right, cool. So I don't know what's happening with that, but
It's
I'll
fine.
fix it eventually.
Troubleshoot it eventually. Don't worry about it right now. Okay, so yeah, some music is okay. I will say the music is great for doing a podcast in the background because it's like a soft music. So
Yeah,
it's good for that. I'll give it that.
I just turn it off completely. It's
Yeah.
not about it's not bad music. I just basically just turn it off and put my own music.
All right. All right. Here comes one of the important ones. Multiplayer and co-op.
Huh.
Uh oof. Both good and bad. I think there's a lot of good and a lot of bad. Uh Good because yeah, you can play with your friends and all that stuff and you can share realms and just do co-op. It is 100% possible. Bad because I felt, at least I was sold the vision or expectation that the game was going to have like a hub where all the other peoples are, or you can interact with other people. Now, it still might be a thing. I have not yet to get to any part of that game like that. I am not sure. I imagine someone in the chat is gonna tell me, but Frank, there is. Shut the fuck up. But if there isn't, please let me know in the chat. I appreciate it. But so far, I have no idea. And you cannot jump into random people realms just to see them, explore them, even if they disable combat and everything, so you don't grief them. But not even that. So it's kind of a letdown when it comes to the whole portal thing, because I thought that was kind of the thing. The other thing I thought it was that I thought you were able to kind of like craft your own realms, like using a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, kind of like cook it. But in reality, it's like preset realms. It's either forest, either desert, either this or either that, and then either this, and that. You just combine two cards, and that's it. You get you
Yeah.
get the outcome.
It's three biomes, and then you got like the difficulty tier
Yeah.
added to it.
So it's just that
And
it's three biomes. There.
when you add the conditional tier, let's call it that, to the biome,
Mhm.
every time that you actually go to a new one, it's like I was feeling at first like it's almost like a time thing because when you go to the provisional one, for instance, I think it is, or the herbarium one, there are roads laid out throughout the forest, and I was looking at those roads and I was like, well, it seems like this is like the same biome, but it's like being constructed over time. So I guess we're like traveling to the same place at different time epochs.
Mhm.
Uh, but I think that's not what they're aiming for. But it certainly does feel like that.
Yeah. Kind of does actually. I have to agree. I think it's okay, really. I kind of was disappointed at it. It just turns into like a little bit more different Valheim, really, which is okay.
Yeah,
But I still think Valheim beats on the crafting. I think Valheim crafting is a little bit better. Um, it's not as robust, I suppose, but it's still good. By the way, your mic died again. But it's decent. I just can see that they took a lot of inspiration in Valheim. Maybe too many, but hey, whatever. I mean, game developers do that all the time. Can still hear you, by the way. So yeah, it's okay. I'll give it again. Oof, 6 out of 10 for me when it comes to that.
am I back?
Yep, you're back. How about you? What do you give the multiplayer here? Oh, and there's no PvP, by the way. In case anyone was wondering, there's absolutely no PvP in this game. Oh, say something, because I cannot hear you again.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep. Man, your mic's really acting up today, huh?
Hello.
Yep, I can hear you. So what's your verdict on the
Yeah.
multiplayer?
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. Sorry. My bad. Uh, Technical issues on my side.
That's fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's So I find it funny when you said multiplayer. Uh, the good is that it has multiplayer.
Yeah, that's
uh,
pretty accurate. It has multiplayer. That's where it starts and it
yeah,
ends.
yeah. Then if you make a list of the bad, the first thing is like the same thing that I mentioned with the survival system. It feels like an afterthought.
Yes, it does. It's like let's make this multiplayer just so people can play it, but then we didn't really elaborate for it. We just
Yeah.
here.
So
Yeah.
I like the fact that you can leave your realm online and somebody can just be playing on it. Unlike Valheim, that you actually have to have your game up so somebody can join and play with you.
Yes. That's a good one
That's
actually.
definitely a plus.
Yep.
But then you see Valheim that has all the biomes and you can literally explore and walk through the whole thing in one single map. In here, they've tried to outsmart that and made the realms, the different biomes, and I think it backfired. Um, it feels like the places are disposable, like one-offs, and you have to reset them and all the stuff that you talked before. But it feels like Valheim definitely has an edge on both the crafting system, the exploration, and I would even say the combat system.
Yep.
Are you with me?
Yep. Just give me 1 second. Keep talking. I just noticed a little bit of a problem here, but it's fine.
So another thing that's troublesome about the multiplayer, and you touched a little bit on this when we were talking earlier, um, is the shareability of items and goals and progression. You might go with somebody into a realm and start playing with them, just complete one of the towers or caves or goals in the realm, and you're not gonna get the same rewards as the other person. Somebody's gonna loot them, not necessarily both of them, but both of the people that are there. So it feels like the end goal of party playing and multiplayer playing here is gonna be to have people help you clear your realm, and then you move on to clear the other person's realm, and so on and so forth. Instead of just completing things together and sharing in on the spoils and the loot.
Yep. I agree. It's an afterthought basically.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, it feels deceitful, to be honest, because I guess from the way they marketed it, it felt like you were gonna be encountering people all throughout different realms, and you're gonna be, but it's not that. It's not that at all. This feels like one huge desert area, and it's a very interesting and enjoyable single player experience. But don't go in expecting that you're gonna find a lot of people just playing around, because that's just not the case.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's a 2 or 3 out of 10 in terms of multiplayer for me.
Oh yeah, I give it a 3 out of 10 too. Like it's just disappointing, really. If you want to have a better multiplayer experience, definitely other games are better than this. All right, so let's see. Quickly. Let's see. Originality. Well, it has some originality to it, but we've been literally burning it the entire time we've been here. It's a lot similar to Valheim. So even though it is very unique and it has its unique mechanics, it still feels like you're kind of playing Valheim a little bit. So it's not exactly unique, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's basically doing a lot of the same things all over again.
Yeah.
The only originality the game has, it's the setting. The Victorian era, Mary Poppins-esque, steampunk-ish setting. And that's basically, I guess like a facelift to what you usually see in survival craft.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. It's just a facelift. Yep. Kind of basically. User interface, we already burned that one to the ground. Mod supports and customization. I don't know much about that, but I imagine at some point they might have mods. Normally, a lot of games like this tend to have mods, but the difference is that the server is online. So I don't know if you can modify an online server. So yeah, good luck to modders in that one. Technical aspects of the game and updates. Don't know much about that. The game runs. It has its little bugs here and there, but the game runs.
Yeah, the loading screens. The loading screens are
Oh yeah, the
hell.
loading screens. They're hell.
I haven't seen this much of a pain in loading screens since I played PlayStation 1. And I don't know if you heard that, Frank.
Yeah, I did.
So the loading screens are a thing here. Whenever you go out of a realm and into another one, or whenever you go back to your respite, which is basically your house, or your spawn point,
Yeah.
it throws you into a very long loading screen. And I think that's completely unnecessary. I don't know. It feels like there's some optimization that they still haven't done, and it ends up being very, very disappointing.
Yeah, I agree. Cause it's just I don't know. It's just it's underwhelming. That's the best way I can put it. Um, it takes too long. Like we're not in the in the loading screens era anymore. We're in the
Yeah.
upgrade
So
seamless
to me,
Star
it's
Citizen
unacceptable.
era.
I understand having some loading screen. I understand as well that I think it's what's the name of the space game that Bethesda just came out with? Uh, Starfield.
Yeah, Starfield.
I think that's an issue with that game as well. But Starfield, it's a much more massive game from what I understand than this is. So I would excuse it. I would excuse it more from them than I would from Nightingale.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, damn. That game is such a Star Citizen wannabe.
Star
Uh,
Citizen wannabe Starfield.
yeah, Starfield. Yeah. Well, I hope my
Maybe more
streamer
fun than
is
Star
not
Citizen Killer.
croaking on me, but whatever. We'll see at the end of this one. Let's see. And I think value and replayability. It has plenty of replayability, but it's very repetitive. It's a lot of repetitive things. The missions repeat in every single map. It's not much difference. Either you help construct something, or you find something, or you kill something, or you puzzle your way into something. Those are the four main mechanics of this game as
Yeah,
far as I
and
go.
and so far the enemy variation hasn't been that much.
No, the enemy
So
variation is very little, very little.
yeah,
Like clearly they
yeah,
only got a couple models and that's it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
I'm not a
I,
fan.
I
I'm not a fan.
yeah, I'm not a fan either. There's one particular mob that actually annoys the hell out of me. It throws you fire bombs,
Oh yeah, the firebomb one. Yeah, that
and
one
it's
sucks.
pretty annoying. But yeah, despite there not being like a lot of variation in their mobs, uh, the ones that they do have, I think they look pretty cool, and they do look distinct from whatever else that there is out there.
Hmm.
Um, I do hate though that if you actually just change your biome to a higher tier, what you're gonna find is a different color thing of the same that you've been fighting, or
Yep,
like a
pretty
little,
much.
it,
Or a
it
different
has a little
variation of the same
flare.
thing.
Yeah, it has a little flare or an extra horn or something like that, but they just repurpose the asset.
Okay.
So I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I don't like that at all either. I've encountered the same mobs
But
way
I
too many
think
times.
its value and replayability is the same as any other survival craft
Yeah,
out
it's
there.
any other survival game. Like you can literally burn hours, days,
Yeah,
months on this kind of game if it's your thing. But for someone like me, it can keep me entertained for a minute. Like I'm definitely gonna keep playing it and get my money's worth out of it. But it is a little bit repetitive, too repetitive for me, and too little interaction with other players. Like again, bare bones to a certain degree, or afterthought. I want it to be like the main thought, but we get no thoughts.
yeah. There's three things. Am I still here? I don't know if my mic is
Yep,
cut.
you're still here. I
Sorry.
will let you know the moment you die.
Um, so there's three things. One, yeah, I agree with you fully. It's very bare bones, but despite that, I have to say that compared with a lot of other early access games, the game it's pretty good. Uh, you
Yeah,
can see early access games out there that are not nearly half as good as what we're playing right now.
yeah,
That
oh
being
yeah,
said,
definitely.
I know, and it feels like they're gonna be updating it very often. Because from what they've been showing throughout the past year and a half, etc., it seems like they're really into the development of this game and they really want to make it work. So I would say give it some time, if anything, and then just go into it again. But the replayability and everything else is the same as every other survival craft.
Yep, nothing really that new. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers everything. So yeah, there you have it. First impressions of this game. I'm gonna give it an overall score. I'm sorry, but this is I think the theme for me has been a 6. This is a 6 out of 10 game for me. It's good. It's not bad. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm willing to give it a 6.
Yes. So that's about it, guys. Thank you for joining me. Uh, for those who have, it's been a conversation with Nick and me. And well, go ahead and leave a comment down below there on the YouTube video whenever you feel like. Just let me know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think this is the next appearance of Jesus in this life, or is it just okay? Do let us know. And that's pretty much it. I hope you see me on the next episode, everyone. This has been Nightingale. Have a good day. Have a good night. Okay, there we go. I stopped the thing. Stream's still running, but I stopped the video. Hopefully, everything did not go to shit. But I'm gonna shut down the stream as well because it's lagging the computer a little bit. The entire time I just noticed that the screen froze on OBS. Like my face and all that was still moving and whatnot, but the game screen dead. This game is not quite well optimized for streaming because it's giving me problems I never seen before with other games.
Okay.
So I know it's not OBS on this one. But yeah, that's about it. Let me go ahead and turn this off. There's no one chatting. There's no one, so it don't matter. Oh, ah, yeah. This tool left the room for me, so I can just